Businesses typically strive to design processes that produce the desired quantity of products with minimal scrap and overhead. Extra scrap and other overhead costs can occur if the wrong machine types or sizes are used, processes are not controlled correctly, or the wrong kinds of material are used. The known or expected scrap can be specified in the scrap fields and then attached to each BOM line. Scrap value is used to calculate corrected raw material consumption on BOM lines. Let's discuss the scrap types. Scrap is specified when the consumption of raw materials that are used in the components of a BOM is calculated. In AX, there are two types of scrap. The first is constant scrap, or a constant value if it is to be calculated only one time on the BOM line, regardless of how many items are produced. The second is variable scrap, which specifies a variable scrap value. This is a percentage value and is calculated as a percentage of the quantity on the BOM line. Let's switch over to AX and I'll show you how to configure this. We'll start by going into the Release Products form, which is found in Product Information Management. Then we'll open up Release Products in the Common area. Here you can select the items that you want to add scrap to. I'll go ahead and add a default scrap into these HDMI cables as an example. Next, we'll go down to the Engineer tab. Then we can put in a default scrap. Here you can see we can specify the default unit of measurement that will be used when this item is placed in a BOM, and then we can specify a constant scrap or variable scrap. Although it is technically possible to use both, it's only typical that one will be used. I'll enter 2 into the variable scrap field. Next, we can start to use this item in a bill of material. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the Release Products list page and select a bill of material. I'll go ahead and go to the Engineer tab in the Action pane and then click Lines to open the details of this particular bill of material. On the lower portion of the form, you can see each of the components. I'll go ahead and add those HDMI cables that we just configured the scrap for, and go over to the Setup tab. You'll notice that the variable scrap has defaulted into the line. This is because that item was configured with a default scrap amount. I can override this if I don't want to use this scrap on this particular bill of material. Maybe in this example, the scrap will be 0.2. So I can type in the constant scrap amount, which will be consistent no matter how many of the finished good I am producing. Join me in the next lesson and we'll talk a little bit more about how you can use measurements in a BOM.